Yamunatira vanachari Yamunatira vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai. Jai.
Bhagavad Gita book. No, Bhagavad Gita book also. Five. Yeah, prayers. 559. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah, today's discussion on it is Canto 5, Chapter 5 and verse number 9. Lord Rishabhadev's teachings. Yada mano hrudaya grantirasya Yada mano hrudaya grantirasya Karmanubaddo druda aslateta Karmanubaddo druda aslateta Tada jana samaparivartate smad Tada jana samaparivartate smad Mukta param yati atihaya hetum Mukta param yati atihaya hetum Yada mano hrudaya grantirasya Karmanubaddo druda aslateta Tada jana samaparivartate smad Mukta param yati atihaya hetum Yada mano hrudaya grantirasya Karmanubaddo druda aslateta Tada jana samaparivartate smad Mukta param yati atihaya hetum. Yada mano hridaya grantirasya karma anubaddho druda aslateta tada jana samaparivartate smad mukta param yati atihaya hetum. A word-to-word meaning by His Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yada, when, manaha, the mind, hridaya granti, the knot in the heart, asya, of this person, karma anubaddhaha, bound by the results of his past deeds, drudaha, very strong, aslateta, becomes slackened, tada, at that time, jana, the conditioned soul, samaparivartate, turns away, asmat, from this attachment for sex life, mukta, liberated, param, to the transcendental world, yati, goes, atihaya, giving up, hetum, the original cause. Translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the strong knot in the heart of a person implicated in material life due to the results of past action is slackened, one turns away from his attachment to home, wife, and children. In this way, one gives up the basic principle of illusion, I and mine, and becomes liberated. Thus, one goes to the transcendental world. Purport. When, by associating with sadhus and engaging in devotional service, one is gradually freed from the material conception due to knowledge, practice, and detachment, the knot of attachment in the heart is slackened. Thus, one gets freed from conditioned life and become eligible to return home back to Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Bandhavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation. When the strong knot in the heart of a person implicated in material life due to the results of past action is slackened, one turns away from his attachment to home, wife, and children. In this way, one gives up the principle of illusion, I and mine, and becomes liberated. Thus, one goes to the transcendental world. So we are all attached to the material world because of the way we have acted in the past. 13.22 Bhagavad Gita says that it is when we come in contact with the material nature, we become implicated. And to understand this concept, one can look at how in nature we find a simile. An insect tries to take honey from a plant, specially called a preacher plant. If you have seen that, if you make an observation closely, you find that the insect, as it lands on the preacher plant, then the preacher plant, that leaf, it slowly and gradually folds itself, it closes. And as it closes, the insect is sucked. And the insect does not know that that she is becoming a prey to the preacher plant. And then finally, the insect is digested by the plant itself. So similarly, a soul, a spirit, pure spirit soul, Satchitananda, comes in contact with material nature with the hope that that the soul can enjoy, but instead of enjoying, it becomes a victim, in the sense that just as that insect is swallowed by the preacher plant, so similarly we are placed in this material nature for time immemorial. We can't trace back when we have entered into this material world. And then every life we perform activities on the platform of I and mine, which here we find is being said is a basic principle of illusion. Ishwaraham aham bhogi, that I am the enjoyer. With that concept, we tend to perform material activities. And when we perform those activities on this platform of I and mine, we become attached. A strong knot is placed in our heart. And it's not easy to break that knot. So what is that we are looking in terms of getting attracted to the glitters of material nature? We are trying to read Mana Siksha. We have a small group. As a group, we are trying to read this beautiful book by Raghunatha Goswami. And based on our understanding of, we have done 6th verse yesterday. So based on our small understanding of what Raghunatha Goswami is trying to tell us, is that we find that we can create 2 baskets. One basket which deals with externals, and the other basket deals with the internals. So the external basket contains certain items to which the mind is attracted, or to which the soul becomes attracted through the mind, or in the sense that the mind gets attracted to the external object. So what does the external object contain, or the external basket contain? So the external basket has got the 4 pillars of sin, that is meat eating, liquor intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. So these are the items present in that external basket, and majority of the human beings at this point of time are attracted to these 4. And they think that we are enjoying our life. But actually, they are getting implicated as in the translation says that a strong knot in the heart of a person is getting tied. Then we have the other objects, like for example, the dharma, artha, kama, moksha is also part of the external basket. And we try to perform this so-called dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and then finally think for the moksha. But if you break that, the dharma, artha, kama, moksha, majority of them, or we can say a percentage of the population is interested neither in dharma nor in artha. They are interested only in kama. Somehow their desires have to be fulfilled. So if you look at the ladder, yoga ladder, they are not even part of the yoga ladder because their interest is only to enjoy. It doesn't matter how that can happen. We have that Charvaka's concept. I'm not able to recall the Sanskrit verse, bhasmi bhuta bhutasya, something, it goes on. And this concept was, who knows what happens after this we die? After all, the body goes to the crematorium. And therefore, so long we are alive, just enjoy our life. Even if it means that we steal, borrow and beg, doesn't matter. Do somehow get the enjoyment of this life. So that is the karma. Some persons who are better than that, they say that, okay, let's try to earn money. And in the process, they try to work hard, they earn money, and then they spend it off for their lusty desires. But better than them would be someone who does some pious activities and understand that there is something beyond material life or beyond this one lifetime. So therefore, he performs the activities based on scriptural injunction, some piety. And the person understands that whatever wealth he is going to accrue is based on the piety. It's not just on hard work alone. Piety is, so therefore, he tries to follow the scriptural injunction, and thus accrue some piety. Based on that piety, he gets some money, and then with that wealth, he tries to enjoy his life. And at the end, he looks for liberation, mukti. But this also is rejected by Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, saying that this is a kaitava dharma, that's a cheating religion. So this dharma, artha, kama, moksha also can be placed in the external basket. Then there are other sense objects to which our senses are attracted. And as part and parcel of Krishna, we also try to aim at those 6 opulences: the strength, the fame, the beauty, the knowledge, the renunciation. So these also, they are part of the external basket. We try to achieve them by behaving in a way we feel that we can get these 6 qualities, or we spend our whole life in trying to attain these 6 qualities. And then Raghunatha Goswami says that there are obstacles in trying to get attracted to Braje Radha Krishna, to the Radha Krishna of Vrindavan. And what are the obstacles? So there are the gross obstacles and there are the subtle obstacles. And under the category of subtle obstacle, Raghunatha Goswami enumerates the Kama, Krodha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya. So these 6 qualities, he says, they are the subtle obstacles for a sadhaka on the path of spiritual journey. And one should be very careful, or one should be aware of these obstacles, and rather he compares them as 6 rogues that we are walking, you are going through on a main lane, and then these 6 rogues, they attack you. How do they attack? They have got the ropes. With that rope, they tie your neck and they strangle you. So for a sadhaka, these are subtle obstacles he encounters on his journey, on his spiritual journey. And then he also enumerates the gross obstacles. The gross obstacles are performing the fruitive activities, so that's part of the dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So therefore we find that the person tries to perform some activity, tries to get the result, or then he is trying to achieve speculative knowledge, trying to merge with the impersonal Brahman, or performing some Ashtanga yoga for some siddhis. So these are considered to be the gross obstacles for a person on the spiritual journey. So the person has to overcome these subtle and gross obstacles. And in 6th verse of Mana Siksha, Raghunatha Goswami, interestingly, he says that, okay, somehow the person has overcome the 6 rogues, that Kama, Krodha, Mada, Moha, Matsarya. But then he encounters what is called the cheating propensities. They are deep within our heart. Prabhupada often says that there are 4 types of the cheating propensities which a human being carries in his heart. That to cheat and to be cheated, to remain in illusion. What is the 3rd one? Imperfect senses. What is the 4th one? To commit mistakes. So this propensity to cheat is also a major knot in the heart which stops the sadhaka to move towards the destiny of the transcendental world. And he gives many examples there, that I'm trying to preach not for the sake of transmitting the message, but I'm trying to preach for, once again, for my glorification. I'm trying to exhibit my scholarship and then give the message, instead of being a via media between the parampara and then take that message to an innocent entity, so that there is a transformation in the heart of that person. Or somebody does cooking not for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, but does the cooking because he or she can relish the dishes which are being prepared. So these are all subtle, you can say, the cheating propensities which a jiva harbors within the heart and unknowingly becomes implicated, which forms an obstacle on his journey towards the ultimate reality that is going to the transcendental world, where he can eternally serve Radha Krishna in his original relationship. So this is the external basket. Then we have the internal basket. Just as the external basket, we have seen a couple of items which attracts the jiva towards the external basket. Similarly, the internal basket also has certain items which can attract the jiva, provided the jiva understands that he is not the body, the spirit, soul. So what are the items which are placed in the internal basket? That one should be attracted to the holy dham. One should be attracted to the Brajavasis. One should be attracted to Radha Krishna. One should be attracted to Guru. Since one should take shelter of the Guru. So mind, instead of being allowed to be attracted to the external basket, we should make a paradigm shift to take the mind towards the internal basket, which means that we should take a journey within. Why does the mind move towards the external basket? In search of happiness. The goal is for happiness. But we do not understand that happiness is not there in the external basket because they are just items. An item made up of material nature does not have happiness in it because it is not composed of happiness. Happiness is there only in Satchitananda. So wherever you have items composed of Satchit Ananda, there only you have Ananda, the bliss. So that means that wherever there is spiritual energy, there only there is happiness. Where there is no spiritual energy, there is no happiness. But by mistake, out of illusion, we think that I can get happiness in matter, where matter is composed of only electron, protons and neutrons, which does not have any happiness inbuilt in that. Because electron is not happiness, proton does not have happiness, neutron does not have happiness, and you further break, these days you have scanning electron microscope, it gives you a few more further minute particles. None of these particles have happiness in it. Scriptures say that happiness is there only in spiritual energy, and whereas this material energy is composed of matter, does not have any happiness in that. So unless we understand that part, that who we are basically, that we are not this body but we are beyond this body is composed of only matter which is part of the material nature, and in that matter it's only purely electron, proton and neutron, and in electron, proton, neutron there is no bliss, there is no happiness, because that element itself is not there, that ingredient is not there. So when that ingredient called happiness is not there in the material composition, from where do I get happiness there? It's only a utility item. I'm looking at a utility item and I'm thinking that this is giving me happiness. Happiness is there only in spiritual energy because spiritual energy is composed of Sat, Chit, Ananda. So that Ananda, the bliss, is there only in spiritual energy. So therefore, the mind should be allowed to be attached to the spiritual energy, only then it can experience happiness. And this is a paradigm shift. This is a big shift we need to make in order to derive happiness. And as part of that sadhana, we find here Rishabdev is telling us that you become detached from matter, or we become detached from home, wife and children. It is not saying that we should not be affectionate to home, wife and children, but you should become detached, which means that you can remain affectionate to your home, to your family, to your children, but at the same time, that means that you perform your duty. you discharge your duty. And what is the duty? Scriptures say for a family person, that do not become a father, do not become a parent unless you ensure or you train your children or you place your family in such a way that they do not have a birth again, that they return back home, back to Godhead. That's the responsibility every family man has. And towards that, the person should display the affection, and so that he can affectionately train the family. And to train the family, first of all, I should be trained. I should understand who I am, what is my relationship with the Supreme Lord. And then how do I get that knowledge? It's when I come in contact with sadhus. When by associating with sadhus and engaging in devotional service, one is gradually freed from the material conception due to knowledge, practice, and detachment. So therefore, association is so important. It is only from a bhakta's heart that I get bhakti. Bhakti requires a medium. Bhakti requires a medium to be transmitted. And that medium is a bhakta, a devotee. A devotee carries Krishna in his heart, and therefore, when we listen to that devotee, then it is like contagious, that the Krishna from the devotee's heart gets imprinted in my heart, and then I become a devotee. And this is an experience of every devotee in a spiritual journey. If one is not associated with a sadhu, one is not associated with a devotee, then the person cannot become a devotee. No matter how many times we hear Krishna Katha from a person who is a scholarly, but if a person himself does not have Krishna in his heart, you may say, wow, wow, he has given a beautiful class, he has given a beautiful lecture, but the person does not become a devotee. I've heard Saptaham or Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is typically read for 7 days, Saptah, 7 days. It's a typical culture from the village I come from. It's called a village called Manthini. It's on the bank of river Godavari, and Saptaham is a very common feature. Two aspects of the culture we have in our village is, one is Saptaham, the second is Sahasra Bhojanam. Sahasra Bhojanam is that you do not invite a family by visiting each and every house. You just say that you send a band of musicians with the drums. So they stand in the street and make an announcement that on so-and-so date, at so-and-so place, Sahasra Bhojanam is being conducted, so you please come. So it's an open invitation to the entire village. So there are the two aspects I have grown in that culture, heard Saptaham, but never took to the practice of devotional service. It was so nice to hear Saptaham. 7 days the pujari comes, then recites Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And at the end of each day, because it was a barter system, we have our land, we grow some paddy, so we give the grains to the person. Very, very little cash, but by and large it's only grains. You have the milk, you have the cows, you give some milk to him. At the end of the day, 7 days you hear. But maybe I was carrying some impressions from that, but became seriously, so-called seriously, in Krishna consciousness after coming in contact with a devotee in ISKCON. Till then, I have heard this because that's the cultural background I hail from. But I never took to chanting. I never took it serious to read Bhagavad Gita, nor did I read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. I read first time Bhagavad Gita in the year 2000. That because I was carrying so much agony, pain, the knot of the material world, the pain is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyati. I lost my father in 1996 and the pain was there till 2000. First time when I completed reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, like a miracle, that pain disappeared from my heart. That knot which was tied, that slackened. And then I started my chanting, hearing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and associating with sadhus. And that's how I find my journey, which has slackened, or let's say it's slackening. Let me not say slackened, but it is slackening the knot of that material attachment. So our process is not that of detachment from matter, but attachment to the spiritual energy. When we get attached to the internal basket, the items present in the internal basket, automatically, spontaneously, I get detached from the external basket. So this is our process. Unlike others who try to get detached from the external basket, but not sure what to do once they get detached from the external basket. Whereas we are very clear that we are attracted to the internal basket and we know what are the items present in the internal basket, because that's where we have the spiritual energy, and that's where there is happiness, because happiness is there only in the spiritual energy. And when I'm attached to that, automatically I get disconnected from the external basket. So one is gradually freed from the material conception due to knowledge. In the association of devotees, when we read Bhagavad Gita, when we read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, when we read Manasiksha, when we read Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, that gives us the knowledge. A solid foundation is given to us. With that knowledge and the practice of chanting and hearing, we become detached from matter and become attached to the internal basket of spiritual energy. Then automatically the knot of attachment in the heart is slackened. And once the slackening takes place, one gets freed from conditioned life and becomes eligible to return home back to Godhead. So one gets freed from conditioned life. Now what do we mean by conditioned life? Because this is a term we find very often used by Srila Prabhupada. What do we mean by conditioned life? What is meant by conditioning? Conditioning means that it has got two properties. That I am tiny. That's one aspect. Two, I am controlled. I am tiny and controlled by material nature. So as a tiny, small soul, I am either under the control of the material energy or under the control of the spiritual energy. So when I am under the control of the material energy, then I'm called a conditioned life. I'm a conditioned spirit soul. What is that conditioning? That I think, I'm always thinking I and mine. I think that I am the enjoyer. Aham Ishwaroham aham bhogi. So that's the concept deeply ingrained in me. Instead of thinking bhoktaram yajna tapasam, so the shift from external basket to the internal basket is the shift from I and mine to bringing in Radha and Krishna in the center of my life. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. If I can make that shift, which is a paradigm shift, which is a huge shift, and put that into my day-to-day sadhana, then I am on the road towards going back home, back to Godhead. And this shift is not easy. If it were to be that easy, the entire planet with 8 billion population would have taken to this process. Not many have taken to this process, only few have taken. In our own families we can see many a time we are the odd members of our extended family. Only 1 or 2 members in the family have taken it. The others, they have not taken it. That's the case I've seen in my own family. We are 5 brothers and sisters. Out of 5 brothers and sisters, only our family has taken to Krishna consciousness. The others, no matter what I tell them, they follow some weird way of practices. Then they think that, well, they are practicing Krishna consciousness. So therefore, the knowledge is important, and the association with a bhakta is very important to slacken the knot of the material conditioning. Yeah, if you have any questions or any comment. Thank you. Gandharaj Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vranda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Even if you shift from your external basket to internal basket, but there are some properties of external basket also will come into internal. Such as desire for prestige or maybe I am the center, even though we shift to the internal basket.
So therefore, they are the obstacles on the path. So you need to clear those obstacles. Unless you clear the obstacles, you can't reach the journey. You can't reach the end. And these obstacles are not simple obstacles, because Raghunatha Goswami, an exalted Goswami, an intimate associate of Radha Krishna, is telling us that, look, you may overcome even kama, krodha, mada, moha, matsarya, but then the deep, deep inside your heart, the tendency to cheat, you can't overcome. In fact, he compares the cheating propensity to taking bath in a donkey's urine. Taking bath in a donkey's urine is compared to the cheating propensity. So I may think that I'm performing devotional activity, but again, as you said rightly, I'm trying to be at the center. And there he, based on Bhakti Vinod Thakur's commentary on verse number 6, he divides the sadhakas into broadly two categories, the grihasthas and the sannyasi, or he calls them as the sanishta devotee, parinishta devotee, and nirapeksha devotee. So three categories. But the sanishta and paranishta devotees are the grihasthas, and nirapeksha, apeksha is desire, nira is not having any desire, material desire, so is a sannyasi. How each one of them, whether is a sanishta devotee or a paranishta devotee or a nirapeksha devotee, doesn't matter. All the three categories can have that cheating propensity. And therefore, that forms a huge hurdle for that sadhaka to move further on the spiritual journey. Does that answer your question? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.